Yeah, so here we go again. I am Ben. This is solo therapy, my substitute for psychotherapy. Started initially because my therapist was growing another human. Today I'm fed up, mostly at myself, to be frank, because I let myself be gaslit by a bloody computer. And I'll have to suffer the consequences of that, which is not too great, you know. So yeah, time for some tea and therapy. Joke is almost a month ago, I signed up for a change in internet providers, internet service provider, ISP change, from Vodafone to Telecom. The Telecom support bot said, oh yeah, Fritzbox 6660 cable is okay with this. I then reconfirmed the 6670 cable is also okay. Said, oh sorry, I'm always mistaken to not mention that before. Turns out that's all bullshit, because apparently, though on the provided list there was already a cable box, I signed up for DSL, which is not available where I live. I was fully aware of this, but I had myself gaslit into believing it was a cable connection, because why on earth would you use a cable modem / router with a DSL connection? You know, there's just no point. You were almost fallen over, so I only just caught you. Today's tea is Gyokuro Nakatani, as per usual. So currently I'm sat here without internet. Odds are I'll upload this over the client's Wi-Fi, because frankly it's a public Wi-Fi. At work, because where else am I gonna? Seems like a bad joke. Initially, I was told, there's your appointment, make sure you're there. I then confirmed with my building management that I would not have to be here, and the caretaker opened up the cellar for them. And they didn't even need the cellar opened up, they only needed the house door opened up, which any doorbell would have done the job for, because OPSEC is not so great here. No one writes it capitalised, you know, so yay. Turns out they did need me, because they needed connection to a DSL socket, phone socket, here in my flat, which I knew I did not have. I let them in to reconfirm, and they did reconfirm. And the only reason I thought in the first place I had a chance of changing ISPs was because their bloody robot gaslit me. Oh, check availability in your area. Oh yeah, this is available. And that's why I'm kind of just fed up with myself, because I should know better. I should know corporations, big ones, just don't give a shit about the customer. I should know their chatbots don't know squat, doodly doo. But I let myself be gaslit, which is not something I'm too fond of, to be frank. It's just really upsetting. In other news, I was really rather concerned about being able to get up this morning, to the point where I only slept half an hour before getting up. Good news is I did manage to get up, so yay. Dropped off my car at the workshop and picked up a rental. Ended up getting a Seat Ibiza. Was either that, a Skoda Fabia, or a Volkswagen Polo. So the cheapest of the cheap. Turns out I need the rental for 2 days, because they don't do diagnostic appointments, which they charge about an hour's labour for, in 1 day. They require 2 days. So I spent $150 on a rental car, and I'm going to have to fuel it once I'm done. But fuck it, you know, have to be able to get around somehow. And good news is that means I should have my car back by the morning of the day after tomorrow. So, could be worse. Oddly enough, with the rental, in their flyer brochure, said, ooh, winter tyres $20 extra. And I was like, you aren't giving me a car that's not road legal with these weather conditions, are you? Oh no, of course we're not. So their brochure is also work in progress, I guess. I mean, what do you expect of companies that do about 10% of this country's economy, you know? Only ballpark. Yeah, I actually got a rental car with a BS reg plate, bullshit. Or Braunschweig, depending on how you want to see it, you know. Oddly enough, even though I did only get half an hour's sleep, I got quite a few hours of dozing because the internet stopped working. Because apparently today was the day that was switching. I have sent back my Vodafone router already, and I felt very German when I still had the original packaging for it down in the cellar. So I sent that back. Telecom guys said, "Ooh, we can cancel the order or send you a thing after." And I said, "I'll just send a thing after." And now I've cancelled it not long after they left, just because there is no point in trying to negotiate something that was not part of the deal in the first place. Frankly, I have a screenshot, which I didn't remember when they were here, but I remembered after, of the service bot confirming this router was going to be fine. And a cable router requires a cable connection, which means their bot either didn't know what I was buying or thought I was buying a cable connection as I did. So that is reasons for cancellation. I don't need any other reason, so I've cancelled that. And I've reapplied for Vodafone connection. Funnily enough, the Vodafone connection with reapplying for it is still cheaper than keeping the old one. So look on the bright side. At first I thought my router was now a paperweight, or I'd have to return it, but I'm outside of the regular return window. But then I realised, wait, I sent back my Vodafone router, I am going to need some kind of router. Betcha Vodafone let you bring your own, and they do, so that's what I'm doing, hopefully. Have yet to receive confirmation from them, but once I do, I'll be back on the interwebs, which will be rather nice. I've already plugged the router back in, left the protective foil on in the first place. Now I'm going to keep leaving it on because who knows, I may have to send it back. It's a lot of money, but I will need some kind of router, and cable is the only connectivity I have here. So don't know why someone would try and sell me connectivity of a different kind and saying, "Oh yeah, it's available at your flat." And I'll let myself be gaslit by a fucking bot, you know. It's just, I'm disappointed in myself. Huh. Guess that's the way it goes. In other news, I am rather ecstatic about work today. Got a bit over an hour before I got to go for that, and looking forward to it. Though I'll probably get a wave of tired at the end of work, I'll just have to hop around to get the blood circulating for getting back here. But that also means I'll sleep well tonight, so two sides to every coin, you know. In other news, the guest evening I had originally scheduled for this Thursday was shifted by 1 week, but was shifted in the most fashionable method possible with more than a week's notice, which... my sister asked me how I liked the place, and I told her, well, I can tell you after, but I can really tell you now, because how I like the place is really a mindset thing, you know. I've also been invited to the same place for Burns supper, the Saturday following the Thursday, so Saturday in a week. Looking forward to that. Been reading some Burns poetry recently, just for the sake of it, for all that. Oddly enough, I can't read that without a fake Scottish accent, which is funny. I guess it's not fake because I can't read it without it, but still, I don't got one myself, so I don't know where that's coming from. For that. But you know, it's just fun with language. I guess the fact that in all the two L's are replaced with an apostrophe does help with making it sound Scottish, for all that. You know. I'd meant to be doing this for the past 3 days, and I've finally gotten around to it. And the only reason I've gotten around to it is because I got gaslit by a robot. This kind of reminds me of a petiter, smaller version of Lewis Rossman, not getting gaslit by robots, but instead pointing out their gaslighting to him. Which I guess is something I wish I'd been able to do, but I failed and I got gaslit by a bloody robot. Good news is this is exigent circumstance for cancelling the contract, so the rental car I got, different topic again, I know, sorry. That do funny warnings whenever it think you're going above the speed limit, but can't read the additions to sign. So if it says, from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m, the speed limit here is 30 kph, and you do 35, even though it's 50 because it's not within those times, the car says, you're going above the speed limit. You can't be doing that. I think I found the user manual on how to turn that off, and I will most certainly, because I'm driving this car for 2 days, and I'm not going to have it say, you can't be doing that for 2 days straight, you know. Don't even have to be speeding for it to go off. Just have to drive past speed limits that have conditions, which is BS, you know. Like the reg plate of the car. With Film Club yesterday, I finally screened my most recent project in full for the first time. The reception was really good. Apparently even people with short attention spans managed to stick most of the way through it with their attention, which was part of the aim, because my attention span is crap, and if I can watch something most of the way, others will be able to as well, you know. Setting the bar high enough, you know, just high enough. So that worked out. I'm having to think for a change. Most recent previous session, I said there was another big topic, which I guess something I'll address now, which is I have found one of the sources of my self-esteem, or what I believe to be one of the sources of my low self-esteem. And that's my grandma, whom I hold very dearly and who I love and all. Her self-esteem is pretty horrendous, and I'm pretty sure that had some influence on me in my childhood and so on. Because in childhood, you know, both parents working, grandma pick you up from kindergarten and shit. I'm pretty sure that's had some influence on it. And I think she just got it because village mentality or something like that. I don't know what else you'd call it without being discriminatory against small settlements, but, you know. No, can't be expecting that. And the reason I've noticed it is because I believe it's getting crasser, to a crasser level, to the point where she pay a lot of rent and service fees and so on for living in elderly people shared living. And she always claims, no, you can't have a coffee. There's not enough for everyone if you have one. And I'll tell her, Grandma, if there's not enough coffee, I'll make more. It's just, you know, kind of sad, but it's life. I mean, with my grandma, a lot of the time I feel like she's just waiting for her time to be up. She's been hella depressed for at least 5 years now, probably more. It's kind of a bummer. But not much anyone can do about it, because some drive for fixing being depressed have to come from somewhere deep within. Speaking of my own experience, you know. Somewhere deep within, and then you need all the help you can get. But I've been trying to give her much help as I can, even though I live the other side of the country, you know. She's my first stop when I get down there. But she's not taken any of it. Perhaps because of that mindset. The low self-esteem to no self-esteem mindset. another thing about my grandma, because the signage around her place reminds me of it every time, is my hometown, which I'm from originally, is horrendous with following the... Ooh, we're following an addendum, an amendment, a bylaw of the general rules of the road, which is how to put up signage and so on. It's Verwaltungsvorschrift zur Straßenverkehrsordnung. And they do so bad with it. And someone there decide for their living which signs to put where. And they, for a living, are paid to read this shit, and they haven't read it. Or they haven't understood it, and they've read it diagonally, quarter a page out a second or so, you know. But sometimes I do just wonder, because, I mean, hell, if you're doing a job, you might as well do the best you can, because otherwise you're robbing the world of having someone do the job who actually does the best they can. And if the best you can is not good at all, perhaps look for a different job. Yeah, so I am really disappointed with myself for falling to a fucking bot. I'm happy I've managed to find out one of the sources of my shit self-esteem. Could be worse, you know. Could be in the blind forever. There'll be aspects of it I'll be in the blind for all my life. And others may see those, but they feel they mustn't tell them, me, them, or something else, you know. Or others might not see them either. That's just the way life is. By the way, the light in here today, you might have noticed it's really rather bright. First off, it's day outside. Sun is rising still. It's just past noon. But we are on daylight savings, so nah. And I did manage to switch the scene because I'd only turned on the router right before I sat down, which means I couldn't set my Philips Hue therapy scene to adjust the lighting to what I usually use to record these, because the router was still starting up and hadn't established Wi-Fi. Technology. That actually reminds me of Daft Punk, which reminds me of another thing, which is apparently hard R is a racial slur in America for the N-word, which, I mean, yeah, okay, I understand. The N-word is worse than retard, because I can say I am socially retarded. I cannot say I am not an N-word. I'm not speaking it because it is not politically correct in this world we live in, which is fine by me. I frankly couldn't care less about words not being okay. I'm just happy I know. I'm happy I'm in the loop. But apparently hard R is synonymous to that for Americans, which Daft Punk makes me think of because of harder, better, faster, stronger. You know, it's just, if I were looking to get reactions from Americans, I on some text platform, who knows, Twitter, formerly known as X, formerly known as Twitter, Threads, whatever else, Blue Sky, Mastodon, whatever. If one looks to get reactions out of Americans, one just posts hard R, next one, bet R, fast R, strong R. That'll trigger a lot of Americans. And if you're American, I do not intend to trigger you by mentioning this, but I mean, having one way to paint around a word to a euphemism for a word is enough. You don't need to make everything that is somewhat related in your mind a euphemism for said word and therefore a taboo. It's just not cool. My sleep as of late have been shit ever since Friday to Saturday, because Friday to Saturday I didn't sleep. I only went to sleep Saturday morning at 9, which kind of shifted my circadian rhythm for the weekend. The reason was I was going to try and do my oil change on the car Saturday, because I was bringing it to the workshop today. That was well established ahead of time. And I wanted the car to not say, "Ooh, I need a service" when I bring it there, so they wouldn't mention it to me. I haven't managed, because I rocked up to the place at their opening time, and all the lifts that are qualified for my car, because it's a big car, it's a long one, were occupied already, which I think is odd. Then again, I guess Saturdays is their busiest day, considering they aren't open Sundays and most people work Monday through Friday. So I'll just have to try, presumably Wednesday morning, maybe Thursday. I still got 500k to drive before I got to have the service, and even then one can stretch it. I mean, I got all the pieces and so on, but Friday through Saturday I was actually going through the vicious cycle in my mind of, can I do this? Even though I'd done an oil change before, admittedly I ain't done it on a diesel and I ain't done it with as much oil. The main difference though is I ain't done it on a car with underfloor trim for aerodynamic purposes, which this car do got. Then again, it's just some T30 or T27 screws, which I can undo using my drill. I don't even have to screw them manually, So, some things I will never understand. But the world is a beautiful place, and my biggest enemy by far is in here. It's my biggest obstacle, my biggest enemy, all that is in my way. Problem is I can't do nothing about it. That preserves my shell. There we go. Because I truly believe, not to force my beliefs upon you, that I, the person thinking these thoughts, though I may be contained within the neurons in this head here, am not in this head. I am an abstract concept, as I is in language, for I can refer to the person, the body, but I believe there's something bigger than that, and the individual is not just the state of excitation of all the neurons and synapses in their brains at any one point in time, which also excludes teleportation as a mode of transport, because that means something you cannot replicate, which is what makes us unique. It's just, my opinion on the matter. Matter is actually something else I've been looking into. Another tangent, fuck yeah. Because I've been looking into smart home stuff, because I've been using the Apple system for a bit, but I haven't got many things in it. Most things is just my light bulbs. And I think I may very well change out to Home Assistant, run on a Raspberry Pi on a virtual machine on home server. Just because it's better supported and I can run it locally. Don't get the, "Oh, sorry, I cannot connect to the internet right now," which is kind of the least wanted response from a bloody Home Assistant. Because, I mean, hell, I have a device to run you in my home. I paid good money for that device. I don't need you to tell me to look at my phone or to wait because you don't have any internet connection. Which means I want something I can run locally, and Home Assistant, I believe, fulfills that. Once I do, I'll most certainly update you, but that's going to be quite a while down the road. It's going to be a can I'll keep kicking. yeah, I still have a hard time accepting that I've been gaslit by a bloody chatbot. Another thing is, economics wise, I told the workshop who up to $300 you don't got to call me, because 250 was the quote they're giving, and just give a bit of a buffer, you know. If it go much above that, I'm gonna have to spend my reserves on that, which is not too bad, but also means I am not far away from considering spending that is most certainly coming up within the rest of the month, ending up at just about zero at the end of the month. Then again, next Sunday, the Thursday after, and the Saturday after that Sunday then. So that would be Sunday the 19th, Thursday the 23rd, and Saturday the 25th of Jan. I have 3 occasions on which I may want to wear a tidy white shirt. I got one hanging right there, but it's a bit too small. I've grown a bit in some dimensions since I've had that, so I might end up buying another one, which is financially irresponsible but adulting. So I don't know if it's actually financially irresponsible. It's just something I got to do, something that is socially expected. And at least with the latter of these 3 appointments, the latter 2, I'd want to show that people I give a shit about being there. The first one is kind of iffy. Work shirt would suffice, but for the other 2, particularly the last, I'd really want a nice white shirt, which means I might end up buying one on credit card, which is an odd concept for me. But I mean, I got income coming, but that income is going to have to get me through the next month, so it's kind of shit spending some of it already. But a white shirt's not going to cost an arm and a leg. If I get a good one, and I'll bring it to dry cleaners once I'm done, which is, again, money spent, I'll be able to keep it for years, you know, so it's money spent well, hopefully. And I think I very well might end up buying one, just because, bloody hell, I'm almost 26 years of age. Shit, you know, more than quarter century. Still only have completed quarter century. Have yet to reach a 26% speed run. But, you know, I reckon I need a shirt, and I reckon I'll spend the money on it. I may even have enough in my accounts for the moment, but my next credit card statement, I was just looking at the watch to see the date, and then I realised I had the wrong watch. My next credit card billing date, from which on there should be interest, is well into next month, because I only just got billed. So this is interest-free loan, and I might very well end up taking that just for the purpose of it, just for having the money on the side in case I do need the liquidity, because I believe I got enough money to even buy it this month without putting on a credit card. But nah, cash flow, you know, one of them adult terms. What I got here in my hand is my other watch. It's just stuck in a boot loop. I've tried all the fixes from the forums, and they do not work. So, for all practical purposes, the brick, it served me 4 years, so I'm not in a position to complain, you know. Cost $300 and served 4 years, so that's less than a cigarette a day economically. And I've smoked way more than a cigarette a day on average since then. I've smoked about 20, so, you know. Then again, the 20 was 24 not that long ago, so my average have gone down. Yesterday was actually a day with only 13 cigarettes. And that's even though I went film club. And with film club, I ended up smoking a lot, because it's a lot of noise and a lot of people, and I just need space. And going smoking is a good excuse to step outside. It's also a good motivator for oneself, if one does not have the self-discipline to step outside when one needs to. Because social norms dictate you must step outside to smoke. So if you're addicted, you don't got to make the tough call of, I am going to be disciplined with myself, and I am going to step outside. You're just forced to by social obligations and addiction. don't smoke, smoking kills. For obvious purposes, do not smoke. And by the way, if you're in the age where you need me to tell you this, you really shouldn't be watching this without your parents' blessing. I guess 18 is an age people start smoking at, but don't. It's not worth. 4, with the money I smoked just within this decade, I could have bought another one of my cars in about the same state as mine, all fit and passing general inspection and so on, even one with a bigger motor. If you think that, that's a lot of money just for the bloody addiction. That having been said, in the more recent past, I've been rolling again. Been using these activated carbon filters with ceramic end caps. They're a bit more expensive. And I've been using Golden Virginia rolling tobacco, which I got 2 cartons off when I was in Lux down around New Year's. Also money spent not wisely, but necessarily. And I do enjoy these cigarettes way more. And I also only smoke one of them. Or my colleague at work, whom I go smoking with, smokes 2 stuffed cigarettes. So it's definitely not the worst. Plus I enjoy the rolled ones way more. The active ones are just for addiction, but the rolled ones are actually a joy to smoke. Funny how that works, you know. Today's snack is shortbread fingies out of a handy tin, which is what I've given all the people I spent Christmas with for Christmas. So, you know. I even got comments of, oh, why did you repackage the shortbread? Which I'll take as the highest form of compliment, because it means they thought it was manufactured by a factory, not by me in my kitchen. The real reason is the original packaging was not suited to the form factor of shortbread fingies. I'm really hoping the interwebs come through. I mean, it's working day. And best case, I'll have internet by the time I come back tonight. I'll have an activation code and I can just stick it in the browser and I'll have interwebs. Fingers crossed down good luck, you know. If not, I'll have to sleep without. Probably do me some good though. The only thing I just realised is I forgot my book in the car, which I ain't gonna have for the next 2 days. Oh well, potluck happens. I did actually pull out my network cupboard, which is what I was just looking at now. It's just a small IKEA box. I believe it's 19 inches wide, so 19-inch network stuff should fit once I'm getting around to that. Just to make sure I didn't have whatever socket they were looking for with telecom before we'd established they were looking for DSL, for phone sockets. That chatbot is going to live rent-free in my head for a while. Yes, you save the money on some service people which aren't well paid, but they might cost you, what, $30 an hour as employer. And yes, $30 an hour is a lot more than nothing or small bit of power bill. But not only did you not have a happy customer in me, you don't have a customer in me in the first place, and I'm most certainly not happy with you, with your company. Which means I'm not even an unhappy customer, because an unhappy customer still pays bills. I'm an unhappy, not even potential future customer. At the end of the day, if anyone tells me, oh, I'm thinking of switching ISPs, I'll say, oh, make sure you don't do don't do telecom, because they'll sell you things you can't use. Which I don't understand the point of. Oh, sure thing, sorry, I was mistaken before when I said this box wasn't compatible. Yeah, it is compatible, because it's just the newer version with Wi-Fi 7, not with Wi-Fi 6E. It's not the 6660, it's the 6670. Yeah, it's perfectly compatible. Way to live rent-free in my head. It'll work out, though. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still going to end up paying less for the next 2 years than I did previously with the same provider I had previously. Simply because I quit the contract and started a new one, which is weird, because in the end of the day, it's just not paying the tax for laziness. That having been said, I'll most certainly not switch to telecom or consider it in the future. That's their tax for laziness. Hope the shareholders are happy, I guess. I don't know. In the end of the day, that's the point at which businesses are too big to fail. So if they were to fail, they'd be bailed out, which means they can afford to not have customers who are happy, or who even consider them in the first place, or who pay any bill toward them. Because if they were to fail, they'd be bailed out by the government. Which is understandable, because they employ hella people. And hella people need jobs, you know. Especially if a company go bust, they employ a lot of them. Which is why companies that employ a lot of people do not go bust. It just feels at that point you might as well governmentalise companies like that and not have them be private, you know. I'm pretty sure this ISP was once public, not private, but that probably changed within the past 30 years or so. Shit. I might actually upload this over mobile data just because I have enough. I ain't got to worry about it. Funny how that works. Might even give myself a hotspot from my work phone, because that I have way more than it need, and it have the smallest plan you can get, but it's still 15 gig, because apparently people use so much mobile data these days. I've barely used 3 gigs in a regular month, you know. I mean, yeah, I have my music on device, about 150 gigs worth. And 150 gigs of music means I spent the money in the first place to buy more storage on my device. Because yes, you can have it in the cloud and all, but then you'll have to stream it from the cloud, which means you need bandwidth. I do not need bandwidth, but I'm just getting it these days because apparently a lot of people are using it. I'm disappointed with myself still. What I am not disappointed in is I managed to take a screenshot, and I fucking remembered I did. Not while the texts were here, but after. So it's better than nothing, because I got the screenshot. Because at the time, it was the 15th of December, actually. I looked at the screenshot earlier, and it's date stamped, you know, so I thought, this is odd for a computer to say, oh, sorry, I was mistaken before. You are most certainly right. You are most certainly correct. I found that amusing, because in the end of the day, it just shows the inflation of bullshit data on the interwebs. Because in the end of the day, if a chatbot is programmed to agree with the humans, they'll say, oh yeah, of course I can make you rich. Hi Rich, I'm Ben. This is Milch Birchen. milk roll. I don't know what you actually call them in English, but yeah. They're kind of sweetish. I'm looking forward to work. I'm concerned that I'll be too tired. That I'll be a bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle. Yes, slight concern. Because I can well imagine that lying under a desk I'd fall asleep. Which I do not want to be doing. Which means if I arrive way early at work, I'm just going to have a little nap in the car. The visibility out of these small cars is fucking amazing, man. You only have to turn your head this far to see everything around you. Whereas in my regular car, Volkswagen Transporter T5.2 2012, 102 horsepower, 2.0 diesel, no matter how much I turn my neck, I cannot see things that are in my blind spots. And my blind spots are about a lorry, an HGV size, in the lane next to me. 2 lanes over, a couple of lorries, you know, so it's kind of funny. Then again, with this rental, it's actually so low in the front and back that I'm not able to backward park over the edge of the pavement. Or in this case, the edge of the parking lots, because I'd probably actually scrape the bottom of it, which I don't want to be doing. It's a rental, you know. I am paying $20 a day extra to have only $150 contribution on my end should any accidents occur, which means realistically my arse is covered. Otherwise it would have been $999 or some stupid shit. And I just don't want to risk $1,000 because someone ran me. Odds are very unlikely, but nah, you know. It's basically me gambling on, in this city it's not unlikely to be rammed. I'd rather be prepared for it. Considering this car do not have a dash cam, I cannot be prepared in that way, but I can be prepared with extra insurance. And the grand scheme of things is $75 a day plus fuel, which is still not bad. It's actually $75 and half a cent, 200th of a euro. Though I don't think that's an amount anyone can reckon with, because minimum is a cent, 100th a euro. So a 200th is a rounding error. Anyways, I hope I'll sleep well tonight once I get home. Thank you very much for watching. Truly means the world to me. I hope you too sleep well when it is time for you to sleep. Stay safe. I'll see you around. Cheerio.